Matty, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, mate.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Been looking forward to it.
No, listen, I was texting you the other day. I wanted to get you on. It was good for you to come on. I know people's going to get value from what we've, hopefully what we can bring. You've helped me throughout the years a lot, and I do appreciate that. But before we get into all that stuff, how are you feeling?
Oh, good. Oh, good. Can't complain. Just getting on with things and working and family life and football. So, yeah, just like I said, it's just getting on with everything.
Thursday in it, so you must have trained tonight, do you?
Training the night, so a bit more relaxed days on Tuesday and Thursdays. I try not to do as much. Still work, but it's not as intense. Sort of, where I'm in the gym maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's sort of more relaxed on a Tuesday, Thursday, and then spend some time with the kids as well, which is nice.
What's training like at Balmachice the minute? Has it changed much since last season, or is it still sort of?
Still pretty much, the same. We've brought Ryan in there, which is good. His training sessions have been very, very good since they've come in, and you've Paul and Chrissy there as well that help out. Well, Paul's the main coach, and he was taking all the training last year, so it's all pretty much similar towards last year. Training's always geared towards the style that we play, and which is good because it means you're not going into games and you're training one way and then playing a different way on a Saturday. So, yeah, training's good. The intensity's been very, very good this year. Obviously, moving up a league, so the intensities are and the tempos are, and it's like the training sessions are hard graft. Like they've been very good recently.
Who's the fella Ryan?
Ryan was at Distillery last year. I think he was at Distillery last year, helping out coaching. And he's come in the last couple of weeks, and he's took a few training sessions, and they've been good. And then Paul's coaching's good. Then you've Chrissy there that bounces in and out and helps out with things. So yeah, it has been good. Like, it's been really enjoyable.
I think with training, like, it has to be good training for the week. Not it has to be good, but the tempo has to be good. Like it brings into a Saturday something shocking. Like,
yeah, the intensity needs to be there, or else, like, if you've sort of a shit session on a Thursday night, it's like, where does that lead you going into Saturday? Whereas you want the intensity to be good, and thankfully over the past 4 or 5 weeks, our intensity in training has been brilliant. It's nearly up to match speed whenever you're playing wee games and stuff, and boys are putting the work in, which is all you can ask for and all you need really going into Saturday.
See, we had a match on Tuesday night. There was a friendly, like, it was meant to be on Saturday, because of Black Day, there was no games. You had a game, didn't you? Yeah. Well, we didn't have a game, so we had a friendly. They pulled out. So then we got a game against St James's Swifts, and they also pulled out an hour before kickoff, which is, you don't do that. Like, you don't.
Who did you end up playing?
So we ended up playing a team. Didn't play a game Saturday, but that team that first pulled out on Saturday, we played them last night or Tuesday night. There was but I haven't even heard of them before. Ormer Road Celtic.
No, I've never heard of them.
Listen, I don't want to, sour about them, but let's just say it was like 15-2 or something.
You just batter them, did you?
Yeah, and it's one of those games where just when you're talking about intensity, I'm like, I didn't enjoy it, because you don't enjoy games like that. You don't enjoy.
The game's dead after 15-20 minutes. Like,
yeah, I think do you know what it was? Actually went 4-0 up, and then they scored two, like, just off of on a play.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just attack up. And then everyone, every time someone gets the ball, want to score. I hate games like that. End up picked up a knock as well. I'm like, stupid game to pick up a knock in.
Just because everything's lackadaisical, and it's like you're not really putting in full effort.
No, you're not at all. I didn't even score. That makes it worse. I was fuming at myself, mate. But no, we'll play Hillsborough here on Saturday in the cup, so that'll be feisty.
Is that the start of your sort of cup games? Start of the league?
So, mate, it's mad the way it works, because in our league, obviously not all the teams opt in for the Irish Cup, but whenever we've got Irish Cup, Steel and Sons, Marshall Cup, and whatever the other one is, there another one? Oh, sorry, it's the second round of Steel and Sons.
Aye.
Yeah, so we got beaten in the Irish Cup. We got beat stinking game. Then we played someone in the Steel and Sons, beat them. Now we've got Ballymena reserves next week in the Steel and Sons. Then the league starts the following week. I think we'll play St. Patrick or something. But you're right in the mix of things, aren't you?
Yeah, well, we're 2 games into the season. We've played 3 cup games. We got beat our first cup game, and then won 2 cup games back to back, and then now we've 2 league games, and then we're league game on Saturday, and then another 2 cup games, and then back to the league again. So it's you're playing a mixture of league and cup always at the start of the year, because there is so many cups to play in, really.
Do you know what I love about Balmackay at the minute? Like, there's so many people going to watch, and it's good, like, for the community. And I have saying that I have been up in ages, but just because I've been playing. But it's amazing to see, like, people are like proper, and there always is those diehard supporters, but there's now like more people coming. It's good to see, like.
Yeah, like, and I think the great thing that's going to help us this year as well is our kickoffs being 3:00 at home, because boys will be finishing their 2:00 kickoffs. They might get showered and all after, and then they might say, oh, sure, we'll go down, if it's a bigger game or whatever it may be, then, boys might head up after their games and watch us, which is good. And, it gets more people in to watch. And yeah, there's been more and more people coming down, which is great. And with the weather that's been good recently, it's, people want to get out and about. And, with last year, we always had decent crowds, and, moving up the league now, hopefully that continues to happen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I hope you're right, but I think we'll move on from football, because I just realised we could probably talk about football for an hour, and people listening to this, some of them might not have a clue what we're talking. So I've never actually knew, mate. How did you get into PTing?
So I'd always been interested in, going to the gym sort of from I was 14, 15. I was going to the gym, wasn't really following a plan or anything. It was always like, I'll just go to the gym, running and stuff for football, things like that there. And then it was whenever I went to tech, I think it was the first year of level 3. A lot of our assignments were based around in the gym, working in the gym, health and safety in the gym, things like that there. And we actually got a deal with the tech to do our level 2 fitness instructor. And then things sort of took off from there. And a lot of boys in the class went and done it. You didn't have to do it, but you could do it. So there's a lot of us done it. And then I was just sort of training in the gym, in and out. I actually then went to Johnny Pierce, who, got into, an actual training plan, getting into a good routine of training. Like I said, I've been training up before that, but it wasn't really anything too intense. It was actually going to help me progress and, learn about nutrition and things like that. So whenever I got into that, my goal was always to do something within fitness, because it's always been something that I was passionate about, and, wanting to progress myself, to become fitter, to become stronger. It was always something that I had a real passion for. And then whenever I sort of got into my sort of transformation of, dropping body fat, building muscle, learning more about the gym, learning more about nutrition, I wanted to help people, and I was helping my wee brother and my older brother and things like that. So it was then sort of that movement where I was like, I actually really enjoy this. This is something that it doesn't feel like work for me, helping people and wanting to give my best knowledge and give it to people to the best of my ability to help them as well, and to make it simple for them. So yeah, to go back level 2, then life sort of happened, was playing football, had a kid, and I was like, right, everything's on the back burner, just need to go work, make money. And then it was like, whenever this came about, where I was going through my own sort of transformation, I was helping others around me. Not in terms of giving them nutrition plans or, training programs. It was just wee simple things. And then it stemmed from that. Just, I was like, I actually want to go and help people. And, people were asking me, mates and stuff, and, family, they were like, oh, what are you doing? You've lost weight and stuff. I've done a photo shoot, things like that there. What have you been doing? I was just giving out my knowledge to people, and, and then it sort of just clicked. I was like, why don't I give this a go? And 3 years later, here I am.
So yeah, I mean, it's class, and sounds similar to sort of, how you helped me and then I got into it. But you mentioned there, like, obviously having a kid and then putting things in the back burner. Fair play to you for actually coming back to it, because a lot of people would maybe get comfortable with, doing something else. How does that, like, was it daunting? Or I'm sure it was daunting, but like, right, actually I'm going to go back into this, or was it like, nah, this is what I'm doing, I'm strong for us?
So whenever Marcy was born, I was actually still in tech, and then I was sort of doing bits and pieces with the IFA as well, coaching and things like that. Whenever I was on my placement year. And then I was working in the Leisureplex, working in the bins, and then I went to work in the school. Like, so it was always like, the work was never the problem. Actually going and doing work was never the problem. Like, doing the bins a couple of days a week, working in the Leisureplex at nights, it was like, right, what if I move that energy slightly to working on myself, working on getting my PT qualification, and actually getting into the gym and helping people. So I was still, I didn't go straight into PT and where, right, this is where I'm going to make a full-time wage, because it's very, very hard to do that, to just upend everything and go, right, I'm going to put all my focus into this one thing, especially whenever you have a kid and you're 21. It was like, right, and they still need to provide. So I was sort of, working in the Leisureplex, working on getting my PT qualification, and then sort of I moved into the school. I was, doing PT sessions in the morning. I was going to work in the school doing classroom assistant, and then I was going back to the gym at night. And it was just sort of like, it's, you mentioned there about it being daunting. It was like, I don't really mind doing the work. I don't mind putting the work in. I don't mind sitting and working and trying to spread my time, because at that time I was 21. I didn't really start PTing until I was 24. So I had 3 years of where I was working sort of towards that and building up to it. So I did give myself a bit of time, a bit of leeway each side while working, but in my head I knew that this was what I wanted to progress onto and move on to. So it can be done sort of going back and having to work at nights, and you're sitting down at the laptop at nights doing a couple of hours of work to work on your PT qualification. But yeah, for me, it didn't really feel like work, because I was then learning about things that I enjoyed and I was passionate about, and it was making me better to then go on and help other people become better and lose weight and build muscle and wanting to progress themselves too.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned there about, and I'm sure anyone listening will now understand that being a PT isn't easy, just starting at like any time, but like you have to have the work ethic to get it going and then continue on. You've clearly done that. Like the work ethic is huge in it.
Yeah, like, it can always seem bright and rosy being a PT, and it's like whenever you first start off, you might only have a couple of clients on board, and it's like, yeah, this is great, but you're not going to earn a full-time wage out of it. So you have to do other things on the side while still building the business, while still trying to run social media, creating content, look after 3 or 4 clients whenever you're first starting off. Also make time for friends, family, football. Like you do spread yourself so thin within them first couple of years, and I still do it now. Like I'm still in an infancy, if you want to call it that. I'm still learning my trade to become a better PT, to learn off other people, to constantly want to progress, and you still have to spread yourself thin. And like you said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows whenever you first start off. It can look great from the outside that you might have this free time, but again, there's only a certain amount of hours in the day where you can actually work and put your full effort into something. So it is a difficult sort of period where you still have to do other jobs to make money, to live, while still trying to build up this other end. But it's exciting at the same time. So it is.
Yeah, it is. No, 100%. I agree. It's exciting, but you need to have that work ethic to know. And fair play to you, mate, because there's a lot of people that haven't stuck at it as long as you have. And you know what I mean? Like it takes a lot. But, you're saying there about obviously like having to do part-time jobs and whatever else. I was a bit strange. I don't know what happened, but see at the start, things went really well for me at the start, which was almost bad, because then like because I stopped everything then at the very start, things kicked off well. I was buzzing up, and then like things started to slow down with COVID and stuff, and then they were like, right, I've stopped everything. Do you know what I mean? I shot myself in the foot a wee bit.
Yeah, like the biggest learning curve for me out of the 3 years that I've been doing it, it's like you're going to have major ups and downs. Like you're going to have times, it's like anything, you're going to have times whenever you feel unstoppable and everything's going right, and then things can start to slip and the market can move. Like, people might be banned at certain points, and people are always banned, but it's like you can't physically force someone to join or whatever. You could be doing all the same things that you were doing when everything was going well, but things just shift and things run through periods of times when it's ups and it's downs, and people only ever see the ups, but there is a lot of downs that happens. And the one thing that always like brings me back around is like whenever I do have down periods and it's like things aren't as things are still good, but it's not as good as what it was. It's like I'm still doing something that I really enjoy doing. And I can guarantee that if I stopped being a PT today and I, went and worked a 9 to 5 or whatever it may be, I would still be wanting to create content to help people in terms of recipes, in terms of putting things out about health and fitness. I would still be doing that because it's fun and it's enjoyable. So like you have to think about it in that way as well. Like things could always be better, but things could always be a lot worse.
100%, 100%. How, on that note, how are you finding sort of the market at the minute?
For me this year, I've been sort of focused on, growing my social media. That's been my number one thing this year. Retention of clients, keeping clients moving in the right direction. Like clients are always obviously number one. Outside of that, it's been more for me building my social media through giving value to people, to give out free value that they can take and they can get like we talked about before, we bite-sized bits of information where they can take and they can go, oh, that clicked something and I'm going to go and I'm going to do that. And that's what I'm going to do. Or it could be a recipe that could help them within a calorie deficit, things like that there. So yeah, for me this year has been more about growth in terms of getting more eyes on what I do and giving people as much valuable information that they can take away and they can utilize and they can use it and hopefully it benefits them. So for me, that's sort of, I've took myself away from that sort of side of things in terms of the market in terms of selling to, I actually want to help people that just follow me, and if they can get a bit of information off me that's going to help them in the long run, then brilliant. And if they want more help, they can reach out, we can have a chat. It doesn't necessarily mean me selling to them because I'm probably the least salesiest person you'll find. Like I'm very laid back in that sense. And it's probably one of my downfalls as well, that I'm not as salesy as what I probably need to be. But for me right now, it's about giving information and giving valuable information and helping to grow my social media and getting more eyes on what I do.
It's smart that, what I mean? It's definitely smart because like you said, they're the salesy part. I hate the salesy part of being a PT. Like, I mean, and that's one bit about the job where like, because you have to just go as you want to help people and you do want to help people. Of course, you want to help people, but if you're going to make an income, you're going to make, money, you do have to make a bit of the salesy part. And it's a part that is, like you said, like it's hard to bed yourself into one of these, like cold callers or whatever that, makes sales. It's hard, man, isn't it? Yeah, not that I don't do cold calls. Like I don't do cold calls. But you know what I mean? You want to join the program?
It's just one of them things. I've never been. I'm not very comfortable with it. Like you said, I want to help people, and it's something that I probably need to get better at. It's something that I need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable with that. So to speak. But it's like literally, I'm just like run through the process with them, how I deliver my coaching, what their goals are, things like that. And if we made an agreement, then that's sweet. If not, then, I'm like happy enough, if you have ever any other questions, just fire me a message through, we can chat about it or whatever. But it's something that I need to work on. And the sales side of it, like everything runs on sales, the world runs on sales, people making money. And that's not unfortunately, but that's the way it goes. And it's something that I need to get better at. And so that's why I've sort of within the last sort of 6-8 months, whatever it may be, I'm focusing on that, giving valuable information, getting more eyes on and just growing. And, with more eyes then becomes more people asking questions, which then gives me more content to speak about, to help others and just to continue to grow and expand in that sense.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice to help people, and you've had decent growth, on social media and stuff. How you find that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like sort of TikTok's a very big platform for myself. And then recently I've started putting reels over onto Facebook, which is going quite well, building followers on there, which, because they're obviously taking the best bits from all the other platforms like Instagram does, reels is basically just TikTok videos, stories took from Snapchat and stuff. So they're using that, like you can almost make one bit of content, but you can spread it across the 3 and you can diversify it. So it works well on different platforms. And TikTok is where I started making my video content really. I'd done a wee bit on Instagram, but it was like, no, I didn't really like the way it was IGTV at the time, and it was like sort of more longer format, and it wasn't sort of my game. Whereas the shorter, snappy stuff, getting the point across there is what I'm feeling better at than TikTok and Instagram. And I really enjoy social media, like, making content and just providing that wee bit of value for people. But it's a mad time where you can literally wake up the next morning and there's an extra 1,000 eyes watching what you're doing, and it's pretty mad. Like,
TikTok's nuts, mate. TikTok's nuts. But like saying that, I had to go on. I actually had to unfollow you. I had to unfollow any PTs. I was getting so caught up in being like I swear to God, and this isn't bullshit. I'm not just saying it. Seeing like someone like yourself or someone I know doing well, I love that. But then I get caught up in seeing a post you maybe put up, or I'm like, fuck, why did I not do that? Or then I see somebody else's. So like, I just have those unfollow PTs. But do you ever get caught up in that?
Yeah, there's loads of times like even the other week, like I'm sitting writing a script out that I'm gonna talk about, and it's like I see someone else that that had done it, and I was like, that's literally it's the same topic that I was going to talk about, but at the same time, after about 10 minutes, I was like, what are you getting worried about? You're not copying them. You're literally like, all the information is out there. It's your personality that you're putting on it and that you want to portray, and how you speak to people is what people watch you for. It's not the information, because you could just go on to Google and get all the information, but they like people's personalities and how they make the point across. So yeah, it can be sort of daunting, where it's like, what, like, he's just done a post on such and such, and then it's like, that's exactly what I was thinking about doing, and it's like, I'll leave it till next week, and then next week comes and you see someone else talk about it, and it's like, so yeah, like a good point you made is, unfollowing people in your niche. But the first thing you do whenever you become a PT is you go and you follow other PTs, and then it's like, after a while you sort of have to regress back, and it's like, I don't really want to be, because it's blinding you, because you're always thinking about, he posted that last week, he posted that the week before. It'll just look like I'm copying them, when in reality you're not really, and no one really cares that if you are not. Like, no one cares if you are copying them or if you're not, because people follow you for you, and not really the information that you're putting out there, really.
Like the way you put it, they're blinding you. And I never thought about it in that way, but it's true. Like, that's where it is. But you're right as well. Like, you need to have your own sort of, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. I'm going to say mindset. I don't know if that's the right way, but your own mindset, that that whatever you're putting out is because you're getting your own personality across. So it's not copying, because it's not really, like, is it?
No, because like I said, all the information's already out there. Exactly. If someone wanted to look up what calorie banking was, they could Google it.
Yeah.
Or else, if someone wanted to look up a low calorie recipe on something, they could look it up. Whereas if you with followers and people following you, it's like, they're coming to you because of the way that you do things. And yes, they obviously enjoy the information that's being given out, or else they wouldn't follow you in the first place. They'd just scroll on by. But it's how you portray it, and how you put things into words, and how you can simplify it for people that resonates with them. And it just it's whatever makes it easier for the person following you, that they're going to be like, okay, he made that super easy, got to follow him. So it's not really like, you'll find that like people won't even follow that many PTs, but because we are PTs, we started off following PTs. It's like, you like I said, you're blinded by everyone posting the same stuff, but all the information's already out there. Like, people aren't following 200 PTs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. All the information is out there, and I think that as well, it's about putting your own touch on things, because maybe the information is out there, but somebody might not understand it because it's said in whatever way. But when you put your own touch or whatever it might be, then people understand it a bit more, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really, like, it is.
Like, the best thing that you can do as a coach is take something complicated and make it simple for someone, and that's what you want to do. Is because like everyone has their own areas of expertise, so you go to someone and they're an expert in one field, and they start talking to you and all this communication, and it's just words to you, and it's like, I don't understand any of that. And then, but if they simplified it to you, and it's like, oh, actually, I understand that now. That's what you want to do in any field. And like, for as a coach, as a PT, you want to make things as simple as possible for your clients and for the people following you. you want to make everything understandable for them so they can go, okay, that actually makes sense. Not just a load of words thrown at them just to make people look smart.
yeah, 100%. Like, you know, the one thing that cracks me up sometimes is, you know, when people go into like the real details, like the scientific details, like, isn't it? It might work for something, but that's just not my type. Each their own, of course, but it's just
like I sort of enjoy both sides of it. I enjoy seeing people simplifying it and understand it, but then I also enjoy the part where it's like they'll put up, you know, a study on it, and it's like you go in and you read it, and it's like it's a lot of big words in there that I don't understand. There's people smarter than me, but then you then can read a wee bit, and then you can go back to their video that they've spoke about, and they've just made it a lot simpler for you. And that's effectively what you want to do in sort of any realm. Is you want to take something that's complicated, make it simple for someone, let them follow it, let them understand it, and let them make progress.
Definitely, I agree. I 100% agree. Something you talk about there is making things sort of simpler, and you have a lot on your plate, whether it be with football, whether it be with PT, whether it be your family, for your kids, whether it be, you know, whatever else. How do you balance everything?
It's just sort of run with it.
Yeah,
like
go with it.
Although yes, you can have routines, you can have this and you can have that. Like I have my hours that I work in the gym. They get higgledy-piggledy every once in a while. You know, you have hours that you want to sit down and you work. It gets higgledy-piggledy every once in a while. And you just sort of have to run with it and make do. You know, the thing is, like, sometimes you could be sitting here or I could be out in the shed working, you know, it could be 8:30 at night and it's like, right, I'm going to go out and get something done here. It could be 10 o'clock at night and you're sitting on your phone and something comes into your head and you write something down. And like, I find that balance, but it's like balance, it's chaos. It's just sort of, you just have to run with it and do what you can. And, you know, people think, oh, you're a PT, you're in the gym all the time, you know, you should be training, you know, X, Y, and Z. But it's like the last thing, if you've done 4 or 5 hours on the gym floor, the last thing you want to do is really stand there for an hour training yourself. But you get it done. And like, I always love just a 3-day split. I normally just run a 3-day split because that's what I enjoy doing. And it's what I can make fit with my time, with football, family, things like that. So yeah, in terms of balance, it's just sort of like, just all go, just try and get whatever done, you know, set a small list some days of, right, I need to get this done, need to get that done, maybe 2 or 3 things. But the one thing that I used to do was set out a list of like 10 things. You're never going to get that done. It was like not even 10 small things. It's like 10 massive things. And you're like, that'll take an hour, that'll take an hour, that'll take an hour. And it's like, that doesn't happen, you know, in the real world, it doesn't happen. So you just have to get on with it and try and balance it as best as you can. But again, it doesn't always work. So I'm someone that just sort of tries to run with it and see how it pans out.
See, I think as well, like, give me 2 seconds. Hold on. Sorry. Give me 2.
I can't remember what you said.
So I had to pause that there, and while I paused that, I completely forgot the last thing Matty said. But no, we're talking about balance, and balance is key, 100%. But like you said, it's not about setting big. If you set big tasks, it's just going to cause overwhelm. It's going to cause stress. You know what I mean? There's no point doing that, is there?
Yeah, like I always find what helped me whenever, like, I find myself getting overwhelmed. It's like set like 2 tasks, 2 sort of business related, 1 task that's like family orientated or something for myself to go and do. And then everything else after that is like a bonus ball. It's like, and if like I did journal for a good while and then sort of fell out of the habit of it. And I've just I do sort of keep things in notes and things like that. But I find whenever I am going through a period of where I am overwhelmed, I am a wee bit more stressed, I will go back to writing out a wee list, and it will only be a maximum of 3, and 2 will be business orientated and 1 will be sort of family orientated or myself. And then everything after that at night is like a bonus ball. You go and you write down everything you've done, because at the end of the day, you can forget half the things you've done. Half of them could be wee small things, could be something as simple as doing the dishwasher. And I'm probably the least most domesticated person ever. So like something like that, doing the dishwasher, you know, brushing the floors, hoovering the floors, whatever it may be, putting a wash on, like writing that down at the end of the day and be like, okay, I actually done quite a lot. I went through a wee thing, picking the kids up from school, taking the kids to school, things like that, going to the shop with the kids, writing all them down at the end of the day, and actually realized I packed a lot of stuff in there. I got my 2 tasks done, I done something for myself or something with my family, and then I had all this extra stuff, and it sort of brings me a bit of calmness where it's like, all right, I actually did do a decent amount of things, and that sort of helps me with that overwhelming stress. Whereas if you do have a long list, realistically, you're not going to get through it. Like,
I think one thing you said there is like sitting at the end of the night and you're like, right, I've done this, I've done that, and it's just a nice feeling. See, if I'm ever sitting about doing nothing, that's when my mood is usually. Well, sometimes it can work out, but I don't like doing that. If I'm ever just sitting about, I'm like, hell, I need to do something here. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's about one thing you said there. What I've been doing recently as well is just literally setting small targets, but small sort of tasks, rather than having like 3 or 4 big tasks. Chunking those down over the week, do you know what I mean? And just doing small wee bits in the morning or whatever and wee bits at night, it makes a big difference overall.
Yeah, like I find especially whenever I first started writing out what I wanted to do for the day, it was just so unrealistic. Like if I went back and looked at them, it would be like, how did you even try and fit all that in? And if you are fitting 5 massive tasks in, they're not going to be done well. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to go back and change things on them. So it's better to do 1 or 2 things, do them well, and then that's them done, instead of having to go back and change. And again, that just creates overwhelm, because you'll be finished that task and you'll be like, I need to change things in that. And then you're sitting there, you can't chill out, you can't rest, because in the back of your mind, tomorrow's coming up, I've X, Y, and Z to do, but I've also to fix that as well on top of it. So it's like putting a plaster over a bullet hole. Like,
yeah, it is definitely. And I think anyone listening to this will be able to, bring that into their own life, whether that be just like, rather than saying that you're going to go to the gym, then you're going to go for a run, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do that. It's just break it up into small chunks, because you don't need to go a million miles now. Like you've just said yourself, and I'd be something similar before, like a 3-day split. I'm similar, because you're playing football 3 times a week. And then, you mentioned to start, I don't know if we said it on here or we said it before, but about training sort of less on a Tuesday and a Thursday, but 3-day split, that's not taking up a lot of time. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to be sitting in a gym all day to get results or whatever it might be. It's just small chunks.
Yeah, like the major thing you always see is people who maybe haven't been to the gym in 3 or 4 years, and it's like, right, I'm going to go back to the gym, I'm going to do 5 days a week. And it's like, it's not realistic for someone that's going to do that, unless they were training for 10, 15 years prior to that. Then of course, muscle memory is going to come back and it's going to kick in, and you'll still be sore. But if you're someone who's new to the gym and it's like, I'm going to go all guns blazing, I'm just going to do clean eating, I'm just going to train 5 days a week, I'm going to go out for a walk or a run, it's like, calm down, relax, chill out. Like, aim for 3 sessions a week, 3 to 4 sessions a week. Make sure you hit your steps. If you want to run, that's sweet, go for a run, but try starting off once a week and then build it up, because you want to set them habits, you want to set that sort of routine and then build on it, because that's ultimately consistency. Like, I rant and rave about consistency, but that's what's going to get you results in the end game, not the jumping in for 3 or 4 weeks and going training 5 days a week and only clean eating. Like, that's only going to last a certain amount of time. Whereas if you slowly build in good habits day by day, week by week, then in the long run, it's going to benefit you a hell of a lot more.
So what are some habits that you could give somebody that's listening to this? Whether it be, let's say, somebody that they're looking to get into some sort of a gym routine, they might not necessarily want to lose weight, or it could just be anyone that wants to. It could be someone who wants to lose weight. It could be someone who wants to get muscle. What sort of habits could you give them?
The first thing that I would always say to people, how's he eating? What's he eating like? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So the first thing is, like, habits is, sort of be conscious about what you're actually consuming. And then your activity levels, get out and get walking. If it's someone that is solely focused on weight loss, then walking is one of the most underappreciated types of exercise that there is out there, because you can do it every day. You can do it multiple times a day. You're not going to get too sore from it unless you're walking 26 miles. But you get my drift. You can do it every single day. You can try and beat it every single day. So if you're someone that's averaging 3,000, 4,000 steps a day, try and aim for 5,000. then try and aim for 6,000 and gradually build that up. And it goes with the same as training. If you're someone who's not training, like always try and train on a Monday. Always try and start your week off right by training on a Monday and slowly build your habits from there. Constantly trying to, if you're going to the gym to gain muscle, you want to obviously progressive overload. So trying to lift heavier weights week on week, and always just trying to push, always trying to think that you've got that one more rep in you, or if you're out for a walk, I can go for an extra 10 minutes. And it's them sort of habits of, them three sort of fundamentals that I always talk about is your resistance training, your steps, activity levels, and your nutrition. And nutrition is obviously at the top in terms of whatever you want to do. If you want to build muscle, gain weight, if you want to drop body fat, lose weight, nutrition is the forefront of that. So it's getting into the habit of tracking your calories whenever you're in the shop, looking at calories, trying to get a better understanding of that, and go and do your own research on it. How to track on MyFitnessPal, how to read nutrition labels effectively, because they can make them quite tricky to make it look as if certain products are low in calories whenever they're low in calories for a small volume of food. But as soon as you start to build that up, the calories get higher and it's still a small volume of food. So try and do your own research in terms of that. But the first thing is like I always say to people, steps in. Just get your steps in, get out walking, get moving. The more you move, the better you're going to feel. And it's almost a domino effect. It's like whenever you're in training and you're smashing your training, you want to eat well. Whenever you're eating well, you're like, right, I want to train. Whenever you're out getting your steps in, you're like, just went for a walk, I want to eat better. And then I'll go to the gym tomorrow. And it's always them three things that are revolving, that it's that domino effect of once one comes, you'll want to move it on to the next one. You want to move it on to the next one. And then it reverts back again. It's like, right, next week, training's going to be better intensity in training. Steps, I'm going to aim for more steps. Calorie tracking, eating better. I'm going to aim to eat better. I'm going to aim to track my calories a bit more better. And if you're doing that on a weekly, monthly basis, you're going to progress in no matter what way you want to go, whether that's gaining or losing weight.
You mentioned there, and everything you're saying, I agree 100%. And I'm glad you went in the detail there, because people are going to take stuff from it. And that's always the aim. Like, yes, have a conversation here, have a bit of crap, but at the same time, people can take something from it, and 100% will take something from it. But you mentioned obviously like eating better, and obviously like, not having the clean eat. There might be people listening to this going, right, I need to eat well, I need to eat better. And, this chuck out all the sort of the chocolate or whatever. Like, it doesn't need to be that way. Tell us a wee bit about why it doesn't need to be that way, or tell us a wee bit about something that you could, if someone's listening to this, think I want to clean eat now, have to clean eat. They don't need to be that way. Sure don't.
No. So yes, you want to be getting your nutrients in, macronutrients, without going into too much detail, but you want to be eating a high protein diet in terms of, getting good sources of meat in, lean meats in. You want to be getting as much fruit and veg in as you can a day. You want to be getting good carb sources in terms of rice, pasta, noodles, whatever it may be, potatoes. You want to, like, everyone knows them sort of them core food groups where it's chicken, rice, broccoli, so to speak, right? But you can spice them up with sauces, things like that. You can go onto my page and look at some class recipes. But like, it doesn't have to be bland. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be that chicken, rice, and broccoli, because ultimately that's not going to last. You're not going to be able to do that unless you are like, there is boys out there that do it, and like that discipline is unbelievable. But for me, it's not what I want to do, and it's not the way I want to help people. So the main sort of focus is calories in versus calories out. First thing you want to think about when you're losing weight. But then you also want to think about your high volume foods, high volume foods, low calories, in terms of, all your lean meats, you're getting good source of protein in there. You're getting a good amount of food for the amount of calories that you're consuming. Then you want to, go into your carbs and stuff like potatoes. I always say potatoes is the king, because on the satiety index, it's right up there. I think it's 1 or 2. It's first or second on the satiety index. And like, you can get so much potatoes for the amount of calories that you're getting in compared to rice or pasta. But that doesn't mean that rice or pasta is bad for you. It's good for you. It's a great carb source. It's a great source of fuel. But you can switch things up. You don't just have to be having chicken, rice, broccoli, pasta, plain pasta, chicken, whatever it may be. But it also means that you can fit things in like a chocolate bar into your daily calorie intake. Because once you have that daily calorie intake, and like you mentioned it as well, like calorie track for a month and just get a gist of the foods that you can actually eat and the foods that you're scanning in the MyFitnessPal or whatever it may be, that you can see that foods you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck compared to other foods, but that doesn't mean you can't have them other foods by limiting them. You don't want to restrict them, but you can limit them. And if you can fit a 240 calorie chocolate bar into your diet every single day, then that is completely fine. You can have it. Would a protein bar be a better option? Possibly, if you're wanting to hit your protein intakes, but it doesn't mean that you can't have that, because they're roughly around the same calories, but there's different nutrients that make up that bar. So yeah, like you probably even see now, like I get passionate about talking about, this type of thing and like trying to explain it as best as to my ability to people. So you sort of want your high volume foods, like so your fruits, your vegetables, like filling your plate up with them is amazing. And then around your meat sources and your carb sources. And it's just about making life easier for you. And if you're tracking your calories, it can seem quite mundane and people are like, I don't want to track my calories. That's weird. But it's like, if you do it for a month and you can see if you're on 2,000 calories to lose weight and you can have a chocolate bar every single day, it's not going to feel like you're in a diet. You can have a packet of crisps every day and still lose weight, as long as you are consuming good, wholesome foods and having that balance between so-called unhealthy foods and so-called healthy foods. So yeah, that in a short sort of span there of me ranting is sort of the way that I like to look at things. You can still have everything in moderation and limit. It's not about restriction for me. It's more about limiting. It's about limiting the types of foods that you eat in terms of the foods that you enjoy, and that sort of 80-20 rule, which is good. 20% of the foods that you enjoy, 80% of the foods that are going to help you towards your goal, which is them healthier foods.
Yeah, again, I agree with everything you're saying there. Quality, no, but you touched on it, you said you get passionate about it, but it's something that you're obviously helping people with. So, of course, you're going to get passionate about it. Of course, you're going to talk, and I know that people's going to be able to listen to that and, again, take something from it. So, I appreciate that. But you mentioned carbs. Where are you with carbs? Listen, I don't think people think carbs are bad, right? They're not bad, but I do think there's something there about, there is something there about not obviously overindulging. Where are you with the whole carbs thing?
So the first thing that I like in terms of weight loss.
Yeah, we'll go weight loss. We'll go weight loss.
So in terms of weight loss, like talking about carbs, for every 1 gram of carbs that you consume, your body has to hold on to 2.5 to 3.54 grams of water to keep that in the body, to keep the carbs there and to help with the carbs. So you need to remember, if you're consuming carbs, your body's going to be holding on to a bit more water, but that is not body fat. It's so for me, if you're looking after your calories and your protein, your carbs and your fats are going to look after each other. So you're going to have, and there's studies done on this, on high fat, low carb, low fat, high carb, and the results are pretty much the same, because people are looking after their protein, people are looking after their calories. And that's the main thing that you need to be focusing on if your goal is weight loss. Because not only with protein is it good for growth, recovery, building strength, building muscle, it's also good for helping us feel full for longer. And then again, with your calories, getting in your fruit, your veg as well, it's all going to help. But your fat and your calories are going to balance each other out. So you might have a day where your fat's high, your carbs are low. The next day, your carbs might be high and your fat's low. It's all going to even itself out over the course of weeks, months, years. And like studies mentioned, there's no difference in terms of weight loss as long as you're looking after these two, calories and protein. So in terms of weight loss, it's like you're going to be holding on to more water, because carbs, as you consume 1 gram of carbs, the body holds on to 2.5 to 3.5 to 4 grams of water as water retention. So that is not body fat, and that's what people need to realize. And it's also with your carbs, you're probably going to be consuming more salt. So again, the body then retains water with having a higher salt content. So it's like you're not gaining body fat if you're eating carbs. Carbs are used as a fuel source, the number one main source of our energy stores. We need to use carbs as energy to help us be active, to help us with everyday life, to help us train. So carbs is definitely something that people need to keep in their diet to if they want to continue to be healthy, continue to be more energetic, and not sort of go through them highs and lows of I'm up and then I'm down again after you eat food. And carbs can leave you a wee bit lethargic, but that's only if you have a massive, massive meal. So yeah, for me, stay with carbs. It's as simple as that.
I'm again 100% agree, and it cracks me up when people listen. I don't crack up them telling me, because it's not, it's not their fault that someone's told them or they found that they need to cut down their carbs. But yeah, it cracks me up. Like, oh, I'm cutting down my carbs because I've lost weight. I'm like, yeah, we've cut down your carbs and you've lost weight because you've cut down your calories. But I do think, like, the one thing you touched on there is lethargic, and that's one thing that if, like, eating a lot of carbs can be a wee bit tired of it, but at the same time, I do think a lot of that's in your head. Like, I think a lot of it's in your head. It's true that obviously, it takes longer to digest or whatever, but
if you flip it the other way, where it's like, if you have too lack of carbs,
you're going to be tired.
You're going to be lethargic as well. So there is that fine balance, but not a fine balance, but like I mentioned, if you're looking after protein and your protein and your calories, you're always going to have a carb source there. You're always going to have rice, pasta, potatoes, noodles, whatever it may be, and they will look after themselves. So for me, it's not something that people need to worry about in their first stages of if they're wanting to lose weight or if they're wanting to build muscle. Either way, protein and calories is the king of it, really.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And you know what? Throughout this episode, there's been so much value that people are going to take and obviously use, and talking about habits and talking about balance. I think balance is, I think the caption of this is going to be something about balance. I make it sound a bit sexier and just balance, like, but it has to be something about balance.
Chaos.
Balance. That's it. You've got it. Balance, chaos. That's the word. That's what it's going for, mate. Done, dusted, sealed. But to wrap it up, if you were to give, and I think you've already covered this, but we'll go for it again. If you were to give someone advice, maybe it's not somebody that's looking to get fitter or stronger. It could be just anyone listening to this. What one bit of advice would you give? And it's a pretty open question, but you think about it, Colin.
Like, probably one bit of advice for, like, sort of anyone is sort of find a passion of what you actually enjoy doing, because no matter if that be a hobby, it could be a hobby, it could be something like, it could be a sport, it could be gaming, it could be whatever you're into. Find something that you're passionate about and run with it, because you don't know what avenues may open in terms of later down the line. Like, you could, content creation for myself, it could open different doors. For someone who's passionate about gaming, they could end up streaming, they could end up chatting to thousands of people a day that actually like their content, like who they are. But it's like, just find something that you're passionate about, either outside of work, and it could be outside of work. It could actually be what you're working as. But yeah, that's sort of a hard question. But for me, it's always about finding a passion of what you actually enjoy doing and run with it, because I'm lucky enough to have turned what my passion was into a way of life for me, into a business for me that I enjoy doing, and I enjoy helping people. And 99% of the time, it doesn't feel like work. Everyone's going to have days whenever it's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. But 95 to 99% of the time, I'm like, this is what I want to be doing. This is what I want to be doing. And it's because I'm passionate about it. And it doesn't matter what you're passionate about, go and do it, research it, get better at it, and just start. You could even put stuff out in social media. You could talk to family and friends about it a lot more, and they could become passionate about it, and it could open up different avenues for you. So yeah, find something that you're passionate about maybe, and run with it and see where it takes you. And like TikTok, just get on TikTok.
Yeah, get on TikTok. You know what? I love ending it like that. So I will. But one thing I'll say before I leave, where can people find you?
So Matty Parker on Facebook, and then Instagram is Matty Parker __, and my TikTok is, need to find my TikTok here. Where is it?
That's the main
my
one.
TikTok. My TikTok's Matty Parker __ as well.
Matty Parker __.
Yeah.
Perfect, mate. Listen, thank you very much. Come on, really appreciate it.
Yes, lad. Thank you for having me. Cheers.